I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure, and this is Currents.
In these tough times, local parishes are also struggling, and now there's an effort underway to help.
A parish is the focus of any community, and it's important that it stays vibrant.
It has more Catholics than Europe, and now its bishops are meeting at the Vatican. We'll have a look at the church in Africa.
And these pieces may look like they belong in MOMA. They're actually on display in a local church.
The church was a support system for artists in the early days. That's a beautiful thing to me.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Well, in this tough economy, Wall Street firms aren't the only ones that have been hit hard. Even charities, whose mission it is to help those that are in these situations, saw a drop in donations, almost 13% last year alone.
People are not only cutting back on charitable donations, they are also not putting as much in the church collection basket each week, which has taken a heavy toll on parishes. Here in Brooklyn, the church is trying to change that. It is called the Parish Support Program.
And the man in charge of it is Monsignor Jamie Gigantiello, a vicar for development for the Brooklyn Diocese. He's probably better known here on net as the co-host of our restaurant show, Breaking Bread. I had the chance to sit and break bread with him just a bit to talk with him earlier in the week. Well, Monsignor Jamie, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
You don't have a plate in front of you. I haven't seen you like this before.
We're not breaking bread today.
Right, exactly. We're going to sit down and have a little conversation about the Parish Support Program.
Right.
Now, when I say Parish Support Program, what is that?
Well, actually, it's the Parish Support Program. It's a parish-focused program, and it's diocesan-wide, and it's really to ensure that the parishes remain stable in our diocese. Each parish is going to participate so that they can remain stable, but also make sure that the parish is vibrant and they're able to pay their bills, basically. That's it. A parish is the focus of any community, and it's important that it stays vibrant.
Right. And
in order for that to happen, the people in the parish really have to take ownership of the parish and support the parish. So we're trying to bring to their attention the needs that the parish have and all the difficulties that they're going through right now.
Okay. Well, great. Well, take me through a little bit of this process and kind of explain to me how this works.
Well, first, every pastor will sit down with, we have a couple of consultants that came in to help us with this, and they will sit down with them and go over all the financial needs in the parish. And every parish is different. And after consulting with the pastor and the finance council, they will present the needs to the parish and really disclose all of the financial needs that the parish has and all the difficulties they may be facing at the time.
Right.
And the pastor, along with the finance council, will speak to the parishioners, and they will ask the parishioners to try to increase their giving to support the parish a little bit better than they have been. Especially with the economic times that we're in, many of the parishes are getting older, many of the parishes have buildings that are, deteriorating, and to maintain these buildings, along with the cost of insurances and payroll and medical expenses, all those items that really are a burden on the parish, people have to really try to step up to the plate and do a little bit more than they have been doing.
Right. Yeah, it definitely all adds up, especially now. I mean, of course, it's no big secret or anything like that the economy is not in the best shape ever. Right. Everybody's kind of struggling now. What would you say to someone who might say, well, my pocketbook isn't exactly full, and now you're asking me to give more. What would you say to someone like that?
Well, first and foremost, I always say, and I preface every time I ask for money as a pastor, I say, give what you can.
Right.
But most of the time, it's not that people cannot give. They just don't think about giving more. When you think about it, most of the people were giving 30 years ago $1. There are many people still giving $1 today. And yet the cost of a container of milk or a loaf of bread has gone up. People go out and they'll buy a pack of cigarettes for $8, and still give $1.
Right.
Those are the people that we're asking them to just refocus and put your priorities in order. Of course, the people that are on set incomes, the elderly, and people that are struggling because of they have a large family and the mother and father are working. We're not asking them to do any more than they can.
Right.
It's really the people that are just so used to giving a certain amount and really haven't been asked or challenged to give a little bit more. And those are the people that we're asking to try to increase their giving.
Gotcha.
And if everyone gave $1 or $2 more, we would be in great shape.
Right, and you know, I was actually reading an article in the tablet about just this, and there was the article kind of began with the discrepancy between Catholics and Protestants when it comes to giving.
Right.
And you know, Protestants give a bit more than Catholics, but as you were just saying, the article pointed out, if Catholics would give just that little bit more, they would match it. It would mean a lot more money.
And we're also, as part of the program, there are a number of things we're trying to improve. One is to get more people to use the envelopes.
Right.
It's better for record keeping. It's also, it helps people to commit themselves. You know, we talk about stewardship, we talk about tithing, and when people commit themselves to a certain amount, at least they know that that's what they're setting aside, you know, as their contribution to the church, as they set aside the money for their food and their rent. And
it makes it easier in the budgeting process.
Exactly. And also, it helps us out because, you know, sometimes people don't make it to church. You know, they go on vacation or they'll go to another church. At least their parish is being supported.
Right.
And we need everyone to do that. And if everyone really took part and used the envelope system, it would help them and it'll help us as well. And it's better for record keeping, you know, for taxes at the end of the year. There's so many, you know, reasons why it's better to use the envelope system. Also today with, you know, technology, and most people pay online their bills. And we're trying to get people to think about paying or making their donations online. And, you know, right away people say, oh, they get turned off by that. But really, it's just an easy way of giving your donation.
Right.
They say, I heard recently, I don't know if it's true, by the year 2015, there aren't going to be any more check writing. Checks will be obsolete. I don't know if it's true or not. But, you know, most people pay online. It's harder to convince the older people to change.
Right.
But most of the young people that pay online, it's an option for them, and we're going to try to encourage that to use online giving, or at least using the envelopes.
Right. Okay. Well, as you know, as more people become computer savvy, it'll be a little bit easier for us there.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to leave it right there, Monsignor Jamie. Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And that is Monsignor Jamie Gigantiello.
And I'm looking forward to that whole online thing. I think it'll work out for a lot of younger people.
Absolutely. Keep the options open there.
Absolutely. Well, we have much more current straight ahead coming up. We have all the day's headlines, including the story of a group of nuns whose quick thinking saved hundreds of young lives in Samoa.
And the net does some networking with Brooklyn's business leaders.
Even in a down economy, Brooklyn is a great place to do business.
Welcome back to Currents. I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure. Coming up a bit later in the show, a historic local church opens up its doors to some modern artists.
But first, let's have a look at the day's headlines. Tomorrow, Catholic Charities will send a USA disaster response team to American Samoa. The goal is to help assess needs there after last week's devastating earthquake and tsunami, which killed hundreds and left thousands homeless. Catholic Charities has already sent $10,000 to the Diocese of Samoa, Pago Pago. Meanwhile, 320 Samoan school children have an Australian nun and her colleagues to thank for saving their lives. When an earthquake set off a tsunami warning at St. Joseph's Primary School last Tuesday, Sister Doris Barbero marched the children up to a nearby hill to safety. While the children did escape, many still have missing relatives. Now, Sister Doris wants to raise money to build a secure tsunami shelter equipped with emergency supplies in the hills behind the school. Here in Brooklyn, meantime, Bishop DiMarzio has asked parishes to take up a special collection this Sunday to aid those hit by the disasters in Samoa and the Philippines.
A Washington, D.C. councilman has introduced a proposal to legalize gay marriage in the nation's capital. Sam Ford now with reaction from both sides.
For D.C. residents Tiana Robinson and Barbara Hemlick, who've been together for 19 years and got married in Iowa 2 weeks ago, today's council action?
Right on, right on, right on. The time is now.
Hip, hip, hooray, yes.
Yeah.
The D.C. council chamber was packed today with a large overflow standing in the hallway outside when councilmember David Catania introduced his bill to redefine marriage in D.C.
by defining marriage as a legally recognized union of two people, regardless of gender.
Inside the chamber, no real debate. 9 of the 12 other council members are signed on as co-sponsors. The debate was outside the Catholic Church.
We've lost sight of the meaning of marriage and the purpose of marriage.
Just because somebody wants to change the law does not change the definition.
An individual.
That would send a bad signal to our children.
On the other side, a Baptist minister in favor.
I see it as a justice issue, a human rights issue.
I look forward to the moment where I can ask my partner, will you marry me, as opposed to, will you civil union me, or in other places like, will you domestic partner me?
It now winds its way through the council's legislative process. Many will be watching.
Now, last month, Washington Archbishop Donald Wuerl sent a letter to 300 priests in his archdiocese, reminding them of the church's opposition to gay marriage. Well, the U.S. Bishops' Conference is clarifying its statement on Catholic-Jewish dialogue. The bishops are removing 2 sentences from the statement that might lead to misunderstanding. This comes after a group of Jewish leaders expressed concern that the bishops looked at dialogue as an opportunity to proselytize. Well, we here at NET are spreading our own message, not only through broadcasting, but also through another type of networking. Get it? Networking? Yeah. Well, meeting local business leaders is that type of networking. The station was one of the major sponsors of yesterday's Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce annual membership meeting and trade show in Park Slope. That's where we set our cameras. Have a look.
The Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce is a 91-year-old membership organization that helps our members through a series of promotion, advocacy, and support services. The Chamber also helps to ensure a healthy business environment for our business community. Even in a down economy, Brooklyn is a great place to do business, and the Chamber is where you should start if you want to start your business or grow your business.
NET is a new member of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. We've been working with them for a little while now. We are here at an event which is their major trade expo as one of their major sponsors.
Today is the Chamber's 91st annual meeting, and the annual meeting is an opportunity for all our members to get together and to hear about our accomplishments over this past year. The benefits of joining the Chamber is really connecting with the larger business community here in Brooklyn.
NET has been able to attend multiple networking events, develop relationships with many businesses, increase exposure in the Brooklyn marketplace, and extend its awareness amongst viewers. And the Chamber has received benefits through NET. We've worked together cultivating relationships. We're also working with them to get sponsors for our channel.
We're always proud to have a new member on board, and we always hope that that our membership grows in new ways, and I think that NET is a great example of that.
It's nice to be able to do a little networking.
Very funny.
I didn't write it. If I had written it, it would be much cheesier than that, trust me.
Okay, we don't need more cheese. No, it's good to see us get out there in the community and do some more stuff, because I know that we are new here to the area. We want to let people know that we're a community partner as well, and people can advertise here on the NET. You're a local business, you want to advertise, we can make a commercial for you, you can do that too. Right. There's a lot of opportunities here, and I think that being a good business partner and being able to go to the Chamber meeting was great.
Absolutely, and anytime you're a new business or a new entity, as we are, trying to get the word out there is always a challenge. We've had ads in the Post, and we've had the bus ads and things like that, but I think getting out there and meeting people and talking to folks face to face is really where it's at when it comes right down to really spreading the word and putting a face on what we do.
Yeah, the Chamber's always a great place to start with that.
Absolutely. Well, stay tuned. We've got more currents coming up straight ahead.
Coming up, what the church is facing in the poorest continent. Catholics in Africa need to overcome lingering ethnic and racial tensions. Those are the words of a number of African bishops as the Synod of Bishops for Africa continues at the Vatican.
Well, many of the bishops say that the solution lies in a radical change of heart. And as we hear from Rome Reports, it's one of a number of problems Catholics in Africa face.
Africa is the third largest continent in the world. 945 million people live within its 53 countries. 17.5% of them are Catholics, higher than the percentage of Catholics in Europe. The latest statistics indicate the continent counts on 35,000 priests, 25,000 seminaries, and 62,000 consecrated people. In the past 15 years, 520 people have died because of religious violence. One of the main goals the continent must face, and one that is being discussed at the Synod this month, is to achieve a reconciliation between the people, leading to lasting peace and the fulfillment of justice. This is viewed as a first step to bringing down Africa off the top spot on the poverty statistics. Zambia is the poorest country in the world, where 86% of the population has less than what's necessary to live. In recent years, a strong presence of China and India, along with the consent of local governments, has led to the very negative consequences for population development. Another issue that worries the church and society in Africa include AIDS. Once again, the church stands by its position. The most effective way to curb the number of affected is abstinence and fidelity. For 20 days, 244 members of the Second Assembly for Africa of the Synod of Bishops will address the situation of Africa and its main problems, showing what it can bring the continent, which is much more than the sad figures of hunger.
Well, in related news, Archbishop Wilton Gregory of Atlanta is the lone American bishop attending the African Synod. In remarks yesterday, Archbishop Gregory said the church has benefited greatly from the growing number of clergy and religious from Africa.
Elsewhere at the Vatican, the stage is set for the canonization of a priest who ministered to lepers. Last weekend, his hometown of Brussels, Belgium, was the site of a special mass celebrating the life of Father Damien. Steve Uwehar reports.
You may not understand the words in this small play depicting Father Damien, but it doesn't matter. This was a celebration of unity, not our differences. Singers from across Hawaii mixed with Belgian voices in one choir.
They allowed us to sing in their language, and they said, you can't mess it up. And we messed it up, but they loved it. They said there was a type of accent of Flemish, so they thought it was really cool.
Bishop Larry Silva co-celebrated with Belgian Cardinal Godfried Daniels.
We should thank you, because we gave life to Father Damien. We gave them you, but you gave him back as a saint.
And members of a hula halal offered lei and gifts to King Albert II. Even the patients got involved, offering a special prayer.
That the brotherhood between this community and the patient of Kalaupapa may become an outstanding example of God's love among mankind.
Then came Audrey Taguchi, the woman who prayed to Father Damien and was miraculously cured of terminal cancer.
I'm just a very common person, and if you look back at his life, you'll see not only did he reach out for the common person, but even those who were ostracized. Now, how can you beat anybody who's such a hero to all of us?
When Mass ended, everyone spilled outside for the unveiling of a new statue of Belgium's most famous priest.
I remember when I was a kid reading the story of Father Damien. It was one of my favorites. I always loved it. Well, Pope Benedict will declare Father Damien a saint this Sunday, and we will have more on his life later on in the week. But tomorrow, we'll also have a look at another saint to be canonized along with Father Damien, the foundress of the Little Sisters of the Poor.
Stay tuned right now. There's more currents coming up straight ahead.
Coming up, an art exhibit that declares God doesn't like ugly.
It's 15 individuals coming from 15 different places, creating 15 different bodies of work. To me, it's very powerful.
As the Vatican announced a few weeks ago, the Pope will meet musicians, painters, and performers from all around the world next month. It is an effort to renew an alliance between the Church and artists.
And closer to home, a local church is working toward that same goal. St. Paul the Apostle Church in Midtown Manhattan has opened its doors to artists, and the result is an exhibit. I love this name. It's called God Doesn't Like Ugly.
Nope.
This is the third year we've done an exhibition here in the Church of St. Paul the Apostle. You know, by far the most well-attended, I might add. What we did is several months ago we gave each of the participating artists the theme, you know, God Doesn't Like Ugly. We just said, this is our theme for this year's exhibition. Create a body of work addressing it. And tonight we celebrate that artwork that they created. Very diverse exhibition. We've got painting, drawing, photography, sculpture, installation, printmaking, really interesting stuff. The idea might be, well, if it's taking place in a church, then it's a churchy show, it's a religious, there's some kind of dogma, there's some kind of thing, there's some doctrine. No, that's not the case at all. That's the beauty of this experience here. It's 15 individuals coming from 15 different places, creating 15 different bodies of work. To me, that's very powerful.
I think, you know, the church was always the first patron of the arts, and so I feel very much at home here with my work. And I think the theme of, you know, God doesn't like ugly, which is, you know, God doesn't like a sort of an ugliness behind a facade of something beautiful and fake. And I think my paintings sort of reflect that through the sort of deep looking through layers for the truth behind them.
I think visually, I express myself visually. For me, creativity is a form of prayer. It is prayer. When I make art, I'm praying in a sense. That's how I feel about it. It's about dialogue. I'm not trying to teach, I'm just trying to create conversation as an artist. That's what my work's about tonight.
The thing about this reception, we've had tonight probably close to 400 people in and out of the church tonight. All kinds of people. We've had hipsters, we've had Catholics, we've had ex-Catholics, we've had, you know, non-religious people, you know, the whole gamut. And they're all talking to each other. The conversations going all around here are incredible. The church cannot be afraid to engage with contemporary art, you know, because for one thing, contemporary artists are telling us something about who we are and where we are going. We need to listen.
What's really powerful to me is, wow, all of a sudden the church, this church, St. Paul the Apostle, is offering its space to it's almost like revisiting that model that the church originally offered to artists. The church was a support system for artists in the early days. That's a beautiful thing to me, is like having this contemporary art in the same space with all this historical art.
What's core here is conversation, that evangelization is not about me saying that I've got something that you need. It's following the example of Jesus at the woman at the well. It's like, give me a drink. You know, you have something I need, I have something you need. We need to have a conversation, and that's what we're saying to the artists.
Well, the exhibit, God Doesn't Like Ugly, runs through October 30th. And it kind of reminds me a little bit, you remember you did that piece not long ago about biblical art.
Right.
And it's like almost the next generation of that.
Yeah, and I had interviewed Father Sabate before, the one that we just saw in the piece, when they did, we did a piece about the whole thing openings, I guess maybe 2 or 3 months ago. It's funny though, when, I forget his first name, Vanderberg was one of the artists on there, when he was talking about how he thought that it was about not wanting to have an ugly veneer, or the outside looks good, but the inside is bad, you know, a pretty veneer, but an ugly interior. I was thinking about that too, the whole theme of it with God. God doesn't like ugly, to me, just not artistically, means God doesn't like it when we act ugly, but he also doesn't like it when we appear ugly, meaning that we don't hold ourselves in enough esteem to show our best selves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, you got to put your best self forward and your true self, but you've got to make sure that that true self on the inside isn't ugly. You know, and I think that's kind of what the whole thing is about.
Yeah, they had nice art there. I really like it.
Yeah, it's really good. It was great stuff. Well, that's it for this edition of Currents. So coming up tomorrow, Irish step dancing.
I want to see this one.
You won't want to miss it. It's Irish step dancing with me, the Lord of the Dance. You'll have to tune in to find out.
Yeah. Well, until then, remember, you can always catch us online. The address is currentsny.net. You're going to be great. I know it.
Oh, yeah.
currentsny.net.
You can also follow us on Twitter. Twitter.com/currentsny is the Twitter site. Follow us on there and find out what we're tweeting about. Well, for all of us here at Currents, I'm the Lord of the Dance, Matt McClure.
No doubt. And I'm Francesca Maxime, the Lord of Nothing, I guess. But anyway, thanks for watching tonight. Have a good evening.